Hey everybody, my name is Frank Panunto with eXp Realty, and I'm happy to be joined today by a very special guest, my good friend Susan McClain. How you doing, Susan?
I'm doing great, Frank. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you, and thanks for taking time to join me today. So, what are we doing today? So, Susan and I have the honor and the privilege to go all across the country and talk to agents, teams, brokerages that are thinking about joining eXp. And what's the question I always get is, who are we? So we like to ask a lot of questions first. And a lot of questions that Susan and I like to ask are, one, are you trying to build a business or are you trying to build a legacy? That's the first thing. The second thing we like to ask is, where are you now? And where are you trying to go? What vehicle are you going to take to get there? And who's going to help you? So our goal today is to try to answer all those questions for you and explain to you what eXp is all about. So let's get started and roll right into it. So Susan, let's go to the first question that you and I get all the time. I mean, who are we? So why don't we give them just a little bit of background about eXp and who we are?
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. We do. We get that question a lot. So eXp was founded in 2009 by a great entrepreneur named Glenn Sanford. So Glenn was an agent, right? Just like us. So he was selling houses, and actually he was a really good agent. I looked at the volume that he did in, it was 2008, 2009 as he was starting eXp. I'm like, dang, he was a top agent. And he said, you know what? He looked at the brokerage model and thought, I think I can do things a little bit differently, right? So 2009, you remember what the market was like in 2009, right? You and I were both in real estate back then.
We were.
So yeah, it was a market downturn. And he decided to start this virtual cloud brokerage, right? We'll talk about what that means in a second. But he decided to start that in 2009, just as an agent, thinking there's got to be a better way to do this. And so started, and then he's grown it to 23 plus countries, 86,000 agents and growing. Right? I feel like we're just 86,000 agents is crazy, but I feel like we're just getting started. I feel like we're this little, tiny company and we're just going down this path.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. And when you think about it, you hit a really crucial point that I think is the very foundation and the basis of our company is it was created by an agent for agents. Glenn's been through it. He understands what a down market is. He understands what it is to live commission to commission and check to check. And so taking all of those things into consideration, I think that's how this model was really developed, in my opinion. So, the other things you think about is we're the number one growth leader year over year in this industry as far as volume, transactions, agent growth. I mean, think about that. And when you think about that, we're the largest independent real estate brokerage in the world. So I think that's a big distinction for us so that people understand that this is not a franchise. I always gloat and brag about the oneness of this company. And we're certainly going to talk about that a little bit more. So you'd also touched about something before about cloud-based. So let's get into that. What is this whole cloud-based thing? What does that mean?
Yeah. So cloud-based just means that I can work from anywhere. And so, Frank, I've recruited, run brokerages. I know you have too. And when I was hiring agents, who did I hire? Well, I hired the agents who live close to my brokerage, right? That's who I hired. Well, yeah. Cloud-based means that you're not tied to the brokerage that's closest or the office that's closest to where you live or where you do business. It means you can join the company that's right for you because you don't have to say, well, gosh, you know what? I've got to drive to my sales meetings every week, every Tuesday morning, right? And so I've got to join the closest brokerage. Cloud-based means you can join and do business from anywhere. And so one of my favorite quotes, Frank, is from a writer named Alvin Toffler. And he wrote this, I think it was 1970. And he said, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read or write. It will be those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. And I think that's so insightful for our industry because our industry's changed, right? You and I have both been in business a long time. And we know that the way that we do business has changed since, 19 years in real estate, right? Real estate has changed a lot since I've been in business. So the industry's changed. Our clients have changed. Their knowledge base has changed. But so many of us want to keep doing business the same way. And eXp, that's what makes us different is Glenn's vision to say, no, I'm going to do things a little bit different, right? So he stepped back and looked at the model and decided to do something different from that cloud-based brokerage. And you touched on it. We don't have franchise fees because we're not a franchise. So that's huge, especially if you're a top producer, right? You sell a lot of real estate and you're paying a franchise fee. We don't have that. We're one brokerage across the United States, which also means that if you're licensed or you want to be licensed in more than one state, guess what? You don't have two different caps, you have one cap because we're one brokerage, right? Like how cool was that for him to think of that in 2009? So you can do business anywhere, no franchise fees, no brick and mortar, which means that we can take the expense of that most brokerages are spending every month on that brick and mortar and the update and the office copier and all of that. And we can put it into our tools and our supporting our agents.
Yeah, you touched on something else too about the customer. I think their expectations have changed also. So on top of everything else, the knowledge and everything else, which means we need to be more efficient as agents and how we run our business. So being cloud-based, we have access to all the support that we need, all the people that we need to help us. We have access to all the tools that we're going to need to be successful. So it doesn't matter where we are. You talked about the traditional brokerage that you and I both grew up in. And I always tell people, the traditional brokerage is you live within those four walls. And what happens when you have an issue? You don't even know who to call. You have to call somebody somewhere else that you don't know who they are. You don't have their name usually. And if your manager's not in there, if they're out recruiting, teaching, whatever it is that they're doing, putting out fires for the most part, well, they may be gone for 2-3 hours or half a day. Now what? Now you're stuck. So your efficiency factor just went down. Now you can't answer the questions or address the issues that you may have. Or what if you have an issue with your accounting? I mean, real estate agents want to get paid. The nice thing about what we have being cloud-based, we have access to all this training and support and all these people that we need on a 24/7 basis, which is awesome. So it's a good segue for us. So we have all these different columns and pillars that people ask about. So, hey, you're cloud-based. So how can you possibly have training and support? So let's address that. Let's do one at a time. So let's talk about support first.
Yeah. So our agents sell a lot of real estate, right? I mean, you touched on it just a minute ago, right? We're, one of the fastest growing companies. And if we couldn't sell all of this real estate, if we didn't have the support and the training, right? So I think support and training go hand in hand personally. But from a support standpoint, I think one of the biggest pieces that we offer our agents is eXp World. And so the way I look at eXp World, to me, essentially, it is your real estate brokerage, but it's virtual. Right. So I can walk into eXp World, and if I have an IT question, guess what? I'm going to go talk to the IT department. I have a question for the accounting department, right? I have a question on my last commission check, or I want to know how much I've hit toward my cap, right? I can go talk to the accounting. I can go talk to my state broker. I can attend a broker meeting. And all of the employees, the eXp employees, when you're in eXp World, the employees like you and I, Frank, we have a different color name, right? We have yellow names. So when you're walking around the world and you don't know where to go or who to turn to, just find someone with a yellow name. That's happened to me before. It probably has happened to you. I was walking down a path the other day and an agent said, "Hey, this is the room I'm looking for. Can you help me?" Like, yes, follow me, right? Let's go. Let's get you to that room. So it's your real estate brokerage, but it's virtual. And you can go in there and attend trainings and meetings and talk to people and form connections with people literally around the world, which is so cool. I can go into a training that's being held in the United Kingdom, right? So it's just, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's so cool too. And it's funny, when I first came here, I don't know about you, Susan, I was a little apprehensive about the world thing. I'm like, oh, now I'm a little cartoon character. I'm not sure what to do with this. They are walking like a robot. But now you fast forward, I'm in that thing every day because it's such an unbelievable resource center for us to use. Secondly, when we talk about support, the other, I think, misnomer out there is that the whole thing is virtual. What people need to understand is we have live brokers, live breathing people in every single state. Some states are bigger than others, so we may have multiple brokers in that state, and you have full access to these people. So if you're having an issue, with another agent or a transaction, you have brokers to talk to, and they are available at the ready for you, which is really, really cool. So to me, that's super, super important. When we get to the training portion of it, I think one of the greatest assets we have is we have 50 plus live trainings every single week. And these are taught by agents. These are agent-led trainings, and we have everything from A to Z, right? It doesn't matter whether you're a brand new agent just starting out or you're somebody who's really, really, really successful, but you want to get to even a higher level, because we have people at all different levels. To have that be taught by people who are actually in the business working at it today is unbelievable for our agents for growth. I mean, think about it. What if you're the number one agent at your traditional brokerage? Who do you go to? Who is your peer group? Who do you have? Generally, what generally happens to those people is that people who are trying to get to be like them are generally sucking the time out of them, right? Asking them all these questions, but they don't have anybody to lean on. Or the vice versa. What if you're the brand new agent and you don't want to
Yeah.
bother the people that are really successful. So you don't really have somebody to lean on. We have a mentor program for our agents.
Mhm.
So the amount of support that you have here, the amount of training is incredible. And to me, well, we have two major things that I am most proud of here. And the biggest one for me is our collaboration.
Mhm.
I think what people need to understand is we have masterminds and meetings and trainings every single week. And we're talking about people, as you alluded to before, across the world that are coming together to share best practices. They're sharing their systems, they're sharing their scripts, they're helping each other. Because one thing that you and I both know, Susan, if it works in one part of the country, it's going to work here. You
Mhm.
might have to tweak it a little bit to adjust to your market, but real estate's real estate, and you don't need
Yeah.
to reinvent the wheel. So when a success path has already been made, all you have to do is follow it. And the amount of sharing that goes on here, and the amount of care,
Mhm.
because I believe that our culture is our strongest asset, and I believe
Yeah.
that everybody's bought into when one person succeeds, we all succeed, and I believe in that, and it's shown every day here, and that's pretty awesome. I feel good about that.
And you touched on something there, and I think we both kind of did, but I want to bring everyone's attention to it because it's so important that the training that's going on, you said it's held by agents, right? And that
Yep.
they're top agents, but it's not just going into your office and getting training from your manager, right? And I've been that manager. I've been the one training. It's not getting training from the top agent in your office, the top agent in your marketplace, the top agent in your state. It's literally the top trainers, coaches, and agents across the world, right? So you can't get that anywhere else. And you're certainly not going to get it in the brokerage where you're getting in your car and you're driving to that sales meeting or that business meeting. So, and you're right, we've got the mentor program, right? We have amazing people who are giving back to our new agents saying, yes, I'll be your mentor and I'll help you through your first 3 transactions. We touched on a little bit, the state meetings, the state broker meetings are so beneficial and so important. Those state brokers put so much time and energy into making sure that the agents in every single state know what's going on, know what changes are happening in their contract, right? It's contract change season. So they make sure that they're there, they're available, they're answering questions. It's just like any other broker. You may not see them face to face as much as you do, the broker that's in your office, but they are there every single day and night and weekends a lot of times, right? They're doing their best to support every single agent to the best of their ability.
Yeah, and I'll take a
So
step further. Those state broker meetings are happening every week. So
yes.
I don't know how, a lot of traditional brokerages, you may not even know who your broker is, let alone see them and talk to them on a weekly basis. So that's a big deal. It's a super
Yeah.
big deal for us. And no, we didn't even get into eXp University yet, where there are thousands of trainings and videos, again, for everything. If you need help with listing presentations, buyer consultations, how to negotiate, social media presence, all of that stuff. We have so much of that, and you didn't even talk about a whole marketing department that we have where, we're talking about listings. There's I don't know, 1,000, 1,500, somewhere around that, just in templates, just for a listing brochure if you want. So there's drip campaigns, all these different tools that we have. So the one thing Glenn did when we talk about an agent building it for agents, he made sure that all the bases were covered. I believe we have every tool necessary to be super successful, especially in any kind of market. But now we have a market that's shifting right now. We seem to be doing just fine. Our production is
Mhm.
going this way, so we're excited about that. So that's awesome. So
Yeah.
let's jump into lead gen. Just kind of in a general bird's eye view, but we have different tools for lead generation. People ask about that. So if you want to touch on that a little bit.
Yeah. So if you're going to have a well-rounded business, right, you need the tools, you need the leads, you need the support, right? The things that we've already talked about. But when it comes to leads, KV Core is one of our top lead generation platforms. So KV Core has landing pages and squeeze pages that you can make. And I'll tell you, if you're not super techie, right, you might be thinking landing pages and squeeze pages, right? Like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm creating. No, it's like literally click, click. And then here you can post something to get a market evaluation, right? Or a market update, what's going on in your local market. Super easy places to drive traffic and generate leads for your business. So landing pages, squeeze pages, powerful SEO. And then we've got the Making It Rain campaign, right? So generating leads from the powerful program of KV Core. So KV Core is a top lead generation platform. And then we've got Revenos, right? So Revenos is essentially our lead engine. So we've got relocation business coming in, affinity business. We've got REO, which is real estate owned or bank owned property. We've got express offers, sellers who want to sell to an investor, right, without doing the whole marketing and, give me an inspection response and all of that. So we've got express offers. We've got the military network. So many ways that we can help agents generate leads to keep their business running just the way they want it to.
Yeah, and you think about it. So we talked about the collaboration before. So think about this. Now you're talking to people all over the country and all over the world. Think about the referral opportunities that we have. A lot of times, like we said before, you may have a referral and you have to talk to a third party. You don't even know who you're talking to. Now I've got my cousin Susan who's moving to California, and I'm promising you, Susan, someone's going to take really good care of you out there in California. I don't know who they are, but they're going to take really good care of you, as opposed to somebody that I'm talking to on a weekly basis that I know knows exactly what they're doing. And I can call them up and say, hey, listen, my cousin Susan's moving out there. Please take good care of her. And now I'm on top of the transaction. I'm in contact with what's going on. I mean, that alone, just that networking within our own 86,000 plus people. I mean, how about that for an immediate network of people that you actually can collaborate with? It's exceptional. Then there's two other things that we have. We didn't even talk about two different other divisions that we have for opportunities. We have a luxury division. We have a commercial division, all international, where you have opportunities there so that you can broaden your profile and whatever you want to do as far as your business goes. So awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Now let's get into the next question everybody's always asking about. Talk to me about your commission splits. How do you guys pay agents? So let's talk about commissions.
So we have a very powerful commission split, right? A compensation package. And it's not just a commission split. I look at it as a compensation package that we offer our agents. So it's $85 a month is our cloud brokerage fee. So $85 a month gives us access to KV Core, right? Which is, by the way, if you are not part of eXp and you're buying KV Core on your own, it's hundreds of dollars a month. So KV Core, you get access to that. SkySlope, eXp World, eXp University, right? That's all part of your cloud brokerage fee of just $85 a month. And then when you have a closing, you've got two transaction-based fees. You've got $40 per closing for your risk management insurance. So it's, sometimes known as E&O, but the company carries E&O, so it's our risk management, right? So $40 that's capped at $500 per year. So once you paid $500 per year into your risk management, you're done for the year. And then you've got a $25 compliance review fee. So that $25 compliance fee, it's essentially a cover your butt fee, right? Because agents are moving fast, right? They're trying to get through the transaction. And signed a lot of contracts in my time, just like you have, Frank. Sometimes I would look at a contract and go, you didn't put the address on this listing contract. I'm not signing it, right? Because agents are moving so fast. So that's what that $25 compliance review fee, it helps to make sure that you're not missing something that can cause liability for you or for your client after closing. So those are your two transaction-based fees. Then when you have your closing, you're an 80-20 split for an agent, right? So 80% goes to the agent, 20% goes to the bucket, the eXp company bucket, until your 20% hits $16,000. Once you've hit $16,000 in your year, you're done paying the company from that split. So you get 100% of your commission after you've hit your $16,000 cap. After you hit your cap, there's a $250 transaction fee that kicks in. So you'll pay that $250 transaction fee on every closing until you paid $5,000. It's roughly 20 transactions. And then that transaction fee drops to $75 after that.
Yeah,
Did I cover
awesome, right? Yeah, pretty awesome. Take a deep breath. That was a lot.
Right.
Right? But obviously agent friendly, right? As far as the compensation plan that you're talking about. But then there's more. So at this point, you've capped. You've paid that $16,000 cap. But if you were to go on and do an additional 20 transactions, you now be called what's now be called an icon. You're becoming an icon agent, which has it's a very important thing and a very important level to reach. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So icon, the way I look at it is, okay, so how will eXp help celebrate my success, right? So when I've been running brokerages in the past, my top agents, do you know what I gave them, Frank?
Go ahead.
I gave him a trophy, right? Yeah. And maybe a hug. Totally worth it.
No plaques? You didn't give a plaque?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like a little plaque trophy, right? That's what I gave them. But what I didn't give them, Frank, was the opportunity for them to earn their cap back in stock, right? Yeah. And so that's what eXp does. So when you hit your cap and you do that additional $5,000 or roughly 20 transactions, you get an icon stock award. And then you also get an additional award for hitting your cultural requirements and your event requirements. So if you hit all three of those, your production, your event, and your cultural requirements, you get $16,000 back in stock. So whatever you just paid through your cap, guess what? It goes into your stock account, and it sits there. And you do this year after year after year, right? And you're earning that stock, and it's sitting there. It's helping you fund an exit strategy from real estate. And I don't know of any other brokerage that actually helps their agents create an exit strategy like we do.
Yeah, so I want to talk about that, right? So that's a great explanation on the icon. And think about it. So what you're telling me is, if you're such a good producer, as most of our agents are, you actually have an opportunity to regain and recapture the cap that you paid. That's incredible, right? So one of the things when we talked about who we are in the very beginning, we were eXp was also the first real estate company to offer equity opportunities to their agents and their employees. What does that mean? It means we're business partners. You have an opportunity to own a piece of the business. So now when we're talking about being agent centric and we're talking about an owner who gets it, think about that model. Here's a guy saying, hey, you're a really good worker. Not only are we going to give you stock back, you have an opportunity to own a piece of this company that I created. I mean, that is unbelievably generous and unbelievably incredible, which leads to the final part to this, right? So you just talked about exit strategy. Look, in traditional brokerages, we know what happens. You're working transaction to transaction, but where's the money going? And how do you capitalize on that? How do you get out of this? I mean, that's a question. I'm a father of 4 kids. So, you know what?
Me too.
Right?
Mother.
Yeah. So, you know, I don't want to be going on listing appointments in my 80s to make sure that I'm still funding things. So in the very beginning, we asked the question, are you trying to build a business or are you trying to build a legacy? Yeah. So now we're going to talk about the legacy part of this, right? So the one thing that I love and the greatest thing that we have is there are multiple buckets, multiple streams of income possibilities here. Where in the traditional brokers, you're making a commission, you're moving on, that's it. Here, we have stock options, right? So a lot of that you just talked about. When you do your first transaction every calendar year, the company awards you $200 worth of stock. They give it to you. Yeah. When you cap, the company awards you $400 more worth of stock. They give it to you. There's $600 worth of stock that they're handing to you just because you're doing some production. That's incredible in itself. Yeah. There's also an opportunity to get another $400 worth of stock. If you were to bring somebody into the company and they were to do a transaction, the first time they do it, they reward you with an additional $400 worth of stock. But the first 600 that we talked about on your first calendar transaction and when you cap, every year you have an opportunity to make that money. So you're talking about $600 worth of stock. If you're productive year 1, year 3, year 5, what's that going to look like? And that's not exactly. Those are stocks you didn't pay for. They gave them to you. Right.
Just for selling real estate, which you're doing anyway.
You're doing it anyway, and rewarding you for it. And then there's also another opportunity, which I'm going to have you expand on, is the agent equity program. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah. So Frank, have you ever paid a franchise fee?
Unfortunately, yes, I have.
Yes. So have I, right? And so if you look at that franchise fee, whatever it might be, 5%, 6%, whatever that franchise fee is. Well, if you ever thought about that franchise fee that you've been paying, selling real estate and gone, gosh, you know what? I wish that money was going to me instead of the franchise owner, right? Yeah. So the agent equity program takes, if you so choose, right? It's a completely optional program, takes 5% of your commission when you close and buys stock at a 10% discount. So you're taking that 5% of your commission and you're stocking it away in your stock, right? You're chunking it away into your stock account. And you do that when you sell, and you sell for a year, you sell for 5 years, you sell for 10 or 15 years. And that 5% is just sitting there and it's growing and growing with every transaction. That's what the agent equity program is. It's essentially you paying a franchise fee, but paying it to yourself, right? Not paying it to someone else. So I love the agent equity program. You can opt in and out of it when you choose, but it's giving you stock at a discount, a 10% discount. And that is huge when we talk about exit strategies, multiple streams of income. You and I have talked about 5 or 6 different ways that you can earn stock and start creating your exit strategy from selling.
Such a complete no-brainer for me. I mean, if it's something that you're already used to paying, why wouldn't you do it? You're paying yourself. Again, like you said, you're just putting that away. I got kids getting ready to go to college. That's going to be pretty helpful for me down the road. I can tell you that. And as our stocks rebound, things are going to look up. Hopefully we're going in the right direction. And, it's going to be worth a heck of a lot more money. So I'm excited about that. And there's still another way that you can still earn some money that we call revenue share. So a big thing about us, and first and foremost, we got to make sure everybody understands we are a production company first. We sell real estate. and we sell a heck of a lot of it. And that is our primary focus. However, there is another revenue stream for us. You join a company like this, you're so excited about it. You and I love this company. We're very passionate about it. And because of that, you and I are also very well known in our immediate areas. And a lot of the people that I've talked to are, hey, man, what are you doing? And tell me about this company. I'm very excited about it. I talk to people about it on a daily basis. So what happens when I'm excited about somebody, I talk to them and they end up joining? Let's talk about that a little bit.
So that actually happened. For when I came into eXp and I did my first transaction, the co-op agent, that cross agent, we're just talking about inspection response or whatever it was. And she said, hey, so tell me about eXp. Well, here's what it is, right? And she ended up coming over to eXp. I didn't even bring it up. She brought it up. But so in doing business, just like you said, right? You're out, you're selling real estate, you're doing what you're doing. You'll come across agents who ask you about eXp. Sometimes you want to start that conversation and say, hey, are you happy at your brokerage? Have you thought about it? Right. So I have a cross agent with agent Bob, right? I'm talking to Bob and Bob goes, hey, Susan, tell me about eXp. And I tell Bob comes over. I can get a portion of his revenue, the company revenue, right? Not the money that goes into Bob's account when he has a closing, but the company portion. So I get a portion of that, up to $2,800 per year. If Bob's a capping agent, if he hits his cap of $16,000, I can get up to $2,800 per year from Bob. Bob has a cross transaction with Betty, and Betty says, hey, tell me about eXp. And Betty comes over. Well, guess what? Bob's going to get $2,800 from Betty per year if she hits her cap, but I'm going to get $3,200 if Betty hits her cap, right? Because I introduced Bob to the company. And so it goes 7 generations is what it does. So you're out selling real estate, you're having relationships and having conversations with agents, and those conversations most of the time will just happen. And so if you are the reason, it's called a sponsor, right? The reason that someone joins eXp, they name you as their sponsor, you can get a portion of the company generated revenue that they're earning.
Yeah. So we're talking about passive income. We're talking about passive income that goes on year after year after year after year. It doesn't stop. And not only that, it's willable, right? So you can send it down to your kids. So when we talk about a legacy, this was one of the main reasons why I came here. I've been working so hard. I've been in it for 28 years now, and I've been busting it in real estate. But every year I felt like I was starting over again, no matter how successful you are. You're just starting over. You try to do things. What can I leave for my kids? How do I know that I can get out of this and make sure that they're taken care of? My wife's taken care of, whatever, right? So it's a life-changing thing. I look at this as, yes, there are real estate agents and there are businesses out there, but I'm talking about legacy, and I'm talking about something way, way bigger. We're also talking about, not having those 4 walls, and you can build this business. So we're talking about the people that join. You're not confined to those 4 walls that we talked about before. Right. You're not confined to that general area that you and I were concentrating at, we work in, that we talked about. We're talking about people all over the world, could be in your downline, in your organization. So the opportunity for that is incredible. Now what are we saying? We're saying all these different revenue streams. We have commission, an unbelievable commission package that we talked about. We're talking about stock options that the company gives you. We're talking about stock options that you can purchase. We're talking about revenue share that can give you, again, doing what you do anyway. You didn't do anything extra. You're just doing what you did. When you wrap your head around all of this and you think about the potential, and you think about the business, and you think about the life that you're building for yourself, for your family, for your loved ones, whoever that may be, the opportunity is unmatched. I've never seen anything like it. I wish I would have done this a hell of a lot earlier than I have. It's funny. I first kind of started hearing about this when there was about 10,000 agents. Now we're at 86,000 plus. And I keep saying to myself, I wish I was in there when it was 10,000 agents. But I'll say this to anybody who's watching this. Don't be the person that says, damn, I wish I would have jumped in when there was only 86,000 agents. Because where we're going big. We're going large.
Exactly. So. Yeah. You know what? Growing a sustainable business isn't just about selling more houses. It's not just about getting more leads. It's not, it's really about becoming a better leader. It's growing as a person. It's helping others. And it's the things that we strive every single day to provide to our agents. We help people be better leaders. We help them grow as a person. We help them generate more leads, right? We help them create multiple streams of income. And just like you, Frank, I wish I would have done this years and years ago, but I'm happy that I'm here now. I'm happy to work every single day with the group of agents and people that I work with knowing that they are striving to make this company better and to make every single agent's life better. And to me, it gets me out of bed, right? I hope that you have all got something that makes you jump out of bed. Like, you're super excited to start the day. And for me, it's this company and it's the agents and the staff that we work with all the time.
It's an unmatched culture that I'm so proud to be a part of. And I get to work with phenomenal people like you. So thank you so much, Susan. Thank you for taking time to help me explain eXp. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. If you have any questions, you can certainly send us a question in the chat, and we will make sure that we answer them for you. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time on eXp Explained.
Awesome. What do we think?
I think it was excellent.
You think it was okay?
That was really good. I really liked it. And I think the suggestion, Frank, to go with the interview style, doing it two people, man, I really enjoy the.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's easy. It's the back and forth is really good. Really good.
Yeah, and I mean, Susan and I have chemistry. We've done a couple of things.